For every piece of bad news, there's a silver lining to follow, even on the Disney World scene. So get ready to hear about the bad, followed by the good when it comes to your Disney World vacation in 2025, here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Vlog. Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad Disney World news, but according to the title of today's video, that is why we are here. Because I need to keep y'all informed, and you need to be thoroughly warned before spending a lot of money on a Disney trip that blindsides you in the end. But don't worry, we're not just going to be a bunch of Grinches today. We got a lot of good news to share with you too, to counteract that bad. That's what we do here at DFB. We let you know kind of all the things that might trip you up, and then we help to make sure they don't. All right, first piece of bad news for 2025, y'all. There's going to be a lot of construction, like everywhere, for years. So between several of the resorts and all the theme parks next year, Disney World is going to be so construction heavy that even Bob the Builder might think it's all a little much. We've got an entire updated list of closures over on our DFB website, which you can find real easily by typing DisneyFoodBlog.com plus Disney closures and refurbs into your Google search engine. But some of the most construction dense areas that you're going to come across next year are going to include Adventureland and Frontierland in Magic Kingdom, World Discovery and World Celebration in Epcot, Animation Courtyard, Sunset Boulevard around the Rock and Roller Coaster area, and possibly Grand Avenue in Hollywood Studios, depending on how quickly Disney decides to get started on the new Monsters Inc. land, and Dinoland USA and the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom. On top of the construction inside the parks, there'll be room refurbishments going on in many Disney hotels too, including Bay Lake Tower at Disney's Contemporary Resort, which has already started actually and will be ongoing until September 2025. Pop Century Resort from late March 2025 to mid-February 2026. Port Orleans French Quarter also already started up and will last until spring 2025. Port Orleans Riverside, specifically the Magnolia Bend section, from early April all the way through to January of 2026, and Copper Creek Villas and Cabins at Wilderness Lodge from mid-May 2025 to September. Grand Floridian Resort and Spa will also see continued construction over in their lobby area. While this doesn't mean the resorts will be closed, it does mean there's the possibility you'll see and hear construction during the day, and there may be fewer hotel rooms available, so you'll want to book those hotels ASAP to make sure you get a room. And since we're on the subject of closures, well, I was gonna wait to talk about this one later, but I guess I'll go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off now. There are several pool closures that'll be happening in 2025 too, including the Fantasia Pool at Disney's All-Star Movies Resort. That's going to be closed from January to April. And from January through June, Stormalong Bay and Shipwreck Pool will be closed at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club, which is the one that really hurts my heart because I love Stormalong Bay. And I know a lot of you do too, but Bria's just glad the 20-person hot tub is still going to be open at the dig site in Coronado Springs, which baffles me. That's a lot of people in a hot tub.
No, AJ, it's not the fact that I want 20 people in a hot tub with me. It's the fact that I like having more hot tub room because they're usually also crowded and make me feel awkward, you know?
But we digress. I've talked about enough construction and closures for now. So let's track down the silver lining. All that construction next year is eventually going to lead to a lot of cool new stuff, and some of that new stuff will actually pop up in 2025. This includes a new Pirates-themed tavern in Magic Kingdom opening late 2025, the reopening of Test Track 3.0 in late summer, and the grand opening of the Spaceship Earth Lounge in late spring over at Epcot. I will be there every day. Can't wait to see you there. The Little Mermaid musical adventure and the Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After shows, both debuting in the summer of 2025 at Hollywood Studios, and the Zootopia Better Zootgether show coming to Animal Kingdom's Tree of Life in winter of 2025. I know that doesn't ease the construction ache very much if you're planning on an earlier 2025 trip, but I just want to assure you that Disney does a stand-up job of making sure the park construction doesn't automatically equal boredom. There's still plenty to see and do across the parks at all times, and there's even the possibility that the crowds might be lighter toward the first half of the year if people are waiting to take their trips until some of those new offerings are finally up and running. As far as those pool closures are concerned, you'll still have pools you can swim in, even if you're staying at All-Star Movies or Yacht and Beach Club during the beginning of the year. Movies has its Duck Pond pool that'll continue to be open. Not to mention, you can also hop over and check out the feature pools at the neighboring All-Star Resort hotels. This is one of the few, very few ways you can pool hop in Disney. Otherwise, it's not allowed, but the All-Star resorts are just really good at sharing. Meanwhile, Yacht and Beach Club has leisure pools that you can access, though I understand it is not the same as Stormalong Bay's Lazy River and Sandy Bottom Pool and massive 230-foot shipwreck water slide. So if you're looking for more of a mini water park experience to go along with your hotel stay, you might actually be better off going to a hotel that's not owned by Disney, like the Grove Resort and Water Park Orlando, Holiday Inn Resort Orlando Suites and Water Park, Four Seasons Resort Orlando, and several others too. You'll just have to do a little research to see what hotels might be the best fit for you and your family. Of course, you could also stay at a different Disney World resort that also has a cool pool or even multiple cool pools. Fancy yourself a landlubber, do you? Well, maybe then you best be getting ready for some serious poolside fun at the Fuentes del Morro pool at Caribbean Beach Resort. This colonial Spanish fortress-themed pool has water spraying cannons and a shipwreck play area for the little ones, as well as 2 slides and close proximity to the Banana Cabana pool bar. The lava pool at Polynesian Village Resort is easy to identify by its volcano water slide, but something really cool that Polynesian guests can now check out at this resort is a brand new pool, the Cove Pool over at DVC Island Tower, which also has a brand new splash pad featuring Moana in wayfinding action. The Big Blue Pool at Art of Animation Resort is the largest resort pool in all of Disney World and is surrounded by larger-than-life set pieces featuring characters from Finding Nemo. The 2 smaller pools at the resort are no less well-themed, with the Cozy Cone Pool in the Cars section surrounded by orange cone cabanas, all right there in Radiator Springs. And the Flippin' Fins Pool allows guests to make a splash under the sea in the Little Mermaid section. And despite my personal feelings about a 20-person hot tub, there's no denying that the Lost City of Cibola Pool is really cool over at Coronado Springs. It's got a 50-foot pyramid setting, Mayan ruins, and a 123-foot long water slide. So construction's one thing, but when construction means shutting down a well-loved ride for an extended period of time, or perhaps even permanently, that's when construction might start to feel personal. In Magic Kingdom, Tom Sawyer Island and Liberty Square Riverboat are slated to permanently close in early 2025 to accommodate the 2 new Cars-themed attractions coming to the park later in the future. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad will also be closing for a lengthy refurbishment beginning January 6th, 2025, and will not reopen until 2026. So basically, the Frontierland area is going to be a hot mess, and we're just going to have to love her as best as we can while she's at her worst while waiting for her to be looking top-notch again. In Epcot, I know I already mentioned Test Track's redesign and reopening, but since this ride isn't set to reopen until late summer next year, that does mean we're still going to be without a Test Track for a good chunk of 2025. Recently, we also learned that the Grand Fiesta Tour will be closing for refurbishment on January 6, 2025. According to Disney, the Epcot attraction will reopen March 15th. In Animal Kingdom, Dinoland USA will begin a phased closure starting January 13th to make way for a new land themed to the tropical Americas called Pueblo Esperanza, slated to completely open in 2027. And part of this closure will mean that we're getting rid of the Triceratops spin ride, along with Fossil Fun Games and Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures. Those all closed forever on the 13th. Fortunately, Disney will be keeping the main dinosaur ride open throughout 2025, so we don't have to say goodbye to that one just yet. But we don't have any exact dates for when the closure is going to happen just yet. And while this one's not a permanent closure, Kali River Rapids is closing temporarily for its annual winter refurb on January 6th, just like Grand Fiesta and Big Thunder Mountain, and it's scheduled to reopen in late March 2025. It's Tough to Be a Bug will also be closing for good to make way for the future Zootopia Better Zoogether show, slated to open late winter 2025. Now, revamping and replacing rides isn't a terrible thing. It's actually a lot of fun to see what the Imagineers are going to come up with next. But much like how I hate to watch the series finale of TV shows because I don't like acknowledging that things are ending, it can still sting to watch these rides go dark. And it especially stings when there are fewer rides to choose from during your visit, yet you still have to pay the same price or more for your multi-pass lightning lanes and your park tickets. And even if you don't purchase lightning lanes, there's always a possibility that the queues for the rides that are remaining open might feel even more crowded than before, since there are fewer rides open overall to help to spur first guests. So here's our silver lining on this one. Those age-old ride line hacks still work. If you can get up and around in the morning for early theme park entry, which will give you a 30-minute head start at every park available for all Disney World hotel guests, then you can bypass a good portion of the ride lines before they get the chance to form. Even rope dropping the park, aka entering right when the park normally opens, can help you get ahead of the crowd, since not everyone's going to want to wake up super early during their vacation to help them get those shorter lines. And if you're staying at a deluxe level Disney resort during your vacay, you'll also potentially have access to extended evening hours, which will give you 2 extra hours in select parks on certain nights after they close for everyone else. This is a huge deal, and definitely make use of it if you can. We got a lot of tips and tricks and ride hacks to help you knock out all the rides in Disney World during your upcoming vacation, even when it comes to obstacles like closures and refurbs. So if you want to learn how to do it all, go ahead and scan the QR code you see on the screen now, or head to disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyRides after this, and we'll send you our free guide that'll help you, well, ride every ride. And we've made it to price increases. All I want to do is hop on People Mover and just forget about how much money I invested to get to Disney World in the first place. Is that too much to ask? Probably, because Disney World got more expensive in 2024 and more than likely will increase their prices again later on in 2025. So, what were the most substantial price increases that we saw happen in 2024? And how are they going to impact our trips next year? The thousands of menu prices that hit us this past October really packed a punch, impacting the costs for prix-fixe meals like Ohana at Polynesian Village Resort, character dining like Tusker House and Akershus, Garden Grill, Cinderella's Royal Table, Chef Mickey's, and a handful of others, as well as multiple quick service locations and classic Disney snacks, including popcorn, Mickey pretzels, Dole Whip, ice cream, and more. And when I say thousands of price increases across the Disney restaurants, that is not hyperbole, my friends. I literally mean thousands. And while each of those price increases might only be by $1 or $2 at each location, you do that across thousands of locations and suddenly you're looking at paying hundreds of dollars more for dining at Disney. And if you want to look more into the specifics of how pricing looks around the Disney restaurants after that wave of increases, just type disneyfoodblog.com plus price increases into your Google search engine, and our post detailing each and every specific price bump will pop up for you at the top of the page. At least it's supposed to. And then there's the matter of park ticket price increases. Earlier in 2024, when the park ticket calendar was initially released for ticket prices up till October 2025, we noticed that there were a lot of price increases we needed to watch out for. But now that the calendar's been updated through the end of 2025, it seems that the ticket price increases are definitely going to hit during November and December as well. In November and December 2025, those one-day, one-park ticket prices will start between $159 and $174, depending on the date and park you choose. But just to further illustrate things for you, if we compare a one-day park hopper ticket for a visit on Thanksgiving Day, that ticket will now cost $264 in 2025 as compared to $253, which is what it cost in 2024. I know, I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you. Just understand that prices are going up. For you returning Disney World fans out there, you may have noticed that prices on Disney World annual passes have already gone up across the board too. Here's a look at the updated pricing along with the previous pricing. Thankfully, Bria is not making me read this out for you. Along with increases for first-time AP purchases, pricing has also increased slightly across 3 of the 4 tiers of annual pass renewals, with only the Incredipass staying at the same renewal price as before. So you'll definitely want to make sure to do the math before your next Disney trip to see if these annual pass prices will really help save your family money or not. And while this might not impact the majority of you, it's still important to note that valet parking, available at the deluxe resorts as well as at Coronado Springs Resort, has, you guessed it, increased in price too. Before, valet parking was $39, but now valet parking is $42 per night per vehicle. But if you're not keen on valet parking in the first place, no worries. At this time, regular overnight parking at the resorts is still complimentary for hotel guests, just as long as you're parking at the hotel you've booked a room at. Okay, AJ, where's the silver lining in all of this mess, you're asking? Fortunately, even with price increases running rampant in Disney World, there are still so many ways you can save on your upcoming visit. For instance, Disney offers special offers and deals throughout the majority of the year over on the Disney World website. This can help you save on park tickets, hotel stays, even vacation packages that bundle the two together. Non-peak travel times, like during back-to-school season, often have cheaper tickets, lightning lanes, and hotel prices available, since demand won't be as high when the crowds are all back hitting the books. You can oftentimes find cheaper fluctuating vacation prices during the middle of the week too, versus the weekends, though that's not always a foolproof strategy, so you'll definitely want to do your research and compare prices to see what times of the year will for sure offer you the best prices. And don't forget, it's totally okay to skip out on some of those big Disney expenses that you might feel pressured to buy just to make your life more convenient or your vacation more fulfilled. For instance, you absolutely do not have to purchase lightning lanes or magic bands or park hopper add-ons or memory maker if you don't want to. And you don't have to visit all 4 parks if you'd rather skip 1 or 2 for now and just focus on a couple that you're really excited for. Even the things that you have to pay for to pull off a Disney World vacation, you can still save money on. Instead of a Disney-owned hotel, you might want to check out a Good Neighbor hotel, which will still give you a room close to the Disney parks and give you many of the same Disney park perks as a Disney-owned hotel will give you, but at a cost that might save you hundreds or thousands of dollars each night. And instead of paying for a full-on table service meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, don't be sleeping on Disney's quick services, which will still provide you with a hearty amount of food at a much lower price. You might even want to use a grocery delivery service, like Kroger Delivery, to have some snacky foods and picnic ingredients sent to your Disney hotel so you can have stuff to munch on during your park day and avoid the Disney prices altogether. In short, you've definitely got ways to save in 2025. And while a Disney trip is always going to be an investment that you'll have to save for, you shouldn't ever have to worry about paying full price for a trip, ever. So is it okay if I start with the silver lining this time? I don't know what you said, but I'm going to assume you went. Of course they do. We trust you wholeheartedly. And thank you for that. For guests staying at a Disney-owned hotel in 2025, you'll be able to get free entrance into one of Disney World's water parks on the day you check in. So you can just check in and hit up either Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach, depending on which one is open, without needing a ticket. Free stuff? Yeah, we can dig it. Give me an inner tube and a pair of really dark sunglasses and just leave me in the lazy river for the day, thanks. So now get ready for the gray and gloomy overcast of this otherwise exciting news. Free water park tickets means that more people will be showing up to the water parks than ever before, and since there's only ever one Disney water park open at a time, at least that's how it's been since 2020, there's a good chance we're going to see a massive spike in water park crowds this year. And that means getting to the water park early to knock out as many rides as possible before the crowds really start piling in. That's going to be crucial if you want to ride and see it all without having to wait long hours in the sun, out in your swim trunks, in the hot pavement for every single water slide. Getting to either water park right when it opens might sound easy enough, but if you're using that free water park perk, don't forget that you can only use it on your Disney hotel check-in day. That can be tricky if you're planning on arriving to Orlando on the same day as your check-in day. You can always take the gamble and try to catch a super early flight and make it over to the Disney World water park right at rope drop if you want to. After all, you don't have to stop by your resort first if you don't want to. As long as it definitely is your hotel check-in day, you can just make a beeline over to the water park first if you'd like. You'll just have to handle your luggage if you're not going to be stowing it away in your own car or a rental car. And while you can rent a locker to keep some of your stuff at the water park, there's a good possibility it's not going to hold everything, especially if your family has a lot of bigger bags. That's why lots of folks will probably still prefer to make a pit stop at their resort first if they've got the time, because Bell Services can hold on to your bags for you even if your room's not ready yet. Might be a good idea to enter the Orlando area a date early, maybe book a cheaper off-property hotel to stay in before your Disney resort check-in day. That way you'll have a much easier time getting up, dropping off your stuff, and getting to the water park front gates by opening, which is usually 10 a.m., though times may vary. Another idea to consider, choose a banana split stay. It's actually just a split stay, but I'm really craving an ice cream right now, and I'm wondering if I should swing by Sonic for happy hour. Sorry, not important. Back to the important stuff. A split stay is where you'll book 2 or more Disney World hotels during your trip. You'll have to pack up and move locations at some point mid-trip, sure, but you'll get free water park tickets for your group for each hotel check-in day. So that's a whole other day of free water park tickets for you to use. If you aren't able to use your first free ticket, then your second check-in day could help make up for that. Or if you're able to use all those tickets on both check-in days, by all means, hit those water slides and have a blast. In 2024, Disney Vacation Club went hog wild on the resort updates and gave us 2 new DVC hotel options to choose from. The first was the updated cabins over at Fort Wilderness, and the second was the Island Tower Suites at Polynesian Village Resort. While these 2 new resort stays give off completely different aesthetics, there are a few truths that can be applied to both. They can both be booked by Disney Vacation Club owners and non-Disney Vacation Club owners alike. They'll both cost you a pretty penny, so you'll need to save a fair amount if you want to stay in one, and they'll both book up pretty quickly. So if your heart's set on glamping Disney style or kicking back in the tropics, you'll want to book your room sooner rather than later. And I know the budgeting portion of staying in one of these new DVC rooms, as well as the early bookings part of it, can get stressful, but our silver lining is going to make up for that. If you reach out to a reliable Disney travel agency, like our friends at Small World Vacations, they can keep an eye on future DVC resort bookings and discounts for you without you having to pay anything extra for their handy dandy one-on-one service. If you'd like to reach out for a free quote and take all that extra planning weight off your shoulders, I'll add Small World's link down in the description. Just tell them AJ sent ya. 2024 really taught me to practice what I preach, because we had a lot of snacks disappear on us and either come back like a knight on a white horse or just stay gone for good and make us wish we'd really appreciated what we had before they up and left us for that great Disney snack cloud in the sky. The loaded burnt end fries at Regal Eagle Smokehouse and Epcot. This has been kind of coming and going, and the bottom line is you can't be guaranteed they're going to be there when you are. Since their departure, we've seen them pop up temporarily at the quick service every now and then, just for old time's sake and maybe for one day at a time. But for the most part, they've been gone, semi-replaced by the barbecue fries that we didn't like nearly as much when we tried them in October. So womp womp on that. Now the Hush Puppies at Columbia Harbor House in Magic Kingdom, they left and hurt my feelings for a little bit when the quick service was doing a major menu revamp, but they eventually did return, and now I'm happy again, though I continue to guard my heart in case something tragic like that happens again. And our all-time favorite waffle sandwiches from Sleepy Hollow Refreshments at Magic Kingdom saluted us farewell after being a reliable and hearty and unique snack option for our team for many, many years, replaced with loaded Mickey waffles. And hey, I'm not complaining about Mickey waffles. I love those dudes. And the good news is that you can still get pretty much the same sweet and savory toppings as you could before, but they're just not the same as our beloved waffle Sammys, especially when it comes to the waffle itself. Before, the waffle was soft and crispy, and now it's a lot more pancake-like, which, hey, might be more up your alley. The point of my nostalgia really comes down to one key lesson. Don't rely on Disney snacks to always be there waiting for you, because Disney likes to switch things up on their menus a lot. And that's where the next silver lining comes into play. We're always updating our DFB guide to Walt Disney World dining to make sure that when you purchase our digital companion, you're going to have the most updated recommended entrees and food prices and dining tips possible. That way you're not planning your whole Disney World dining itinerary around outdated information. I made the first iteration of this guidebook probably back in 2010 or 2011. I don't even remember which year we started it. And when I originally launched the guide, I wanted to make sure that families like mine didn't have to blindly choose a Disney restaurant based on vibes and generic summaries alone, only to wind up sorely disappointed in the amount of money spent on a meal that just wasn't worth it in the end. So if you want to pick up our brand new dining guide for 2025, which has been completely revamped, it is unbelievably beautiful, head over to dfbstore.com and don't forget to type in code YouTube for a discount on your total guidebook purchase. Okay, hurricane season was rough in 2024. Orlando received the backwash from Hurricane Helene at the end of September, then got a heavier hit from Hurricane Milton that ended up closing the Disney World parks for 2 days in early October. While the parks only received minor damage and the Disney resorts remained sturdy, which is honestly a silver lining as is, everyone's continued safety above everything else, this did throw a loop into hundreds of already planned out Disney vacations. Again, that's not the most important takeaway here. Keeping people safe is the most important takeaway. But if you're planning on a Disney World vacation that happens to fall right around hurricane season, especially around the end of August through early October, then I'm not saying you're guaranteed to have a hurricane fall during the time of your trip, but it's always best to stay alert and be prepared for the possibility of it. It's like we said before, brace yourself for the worst, but anticipate the best. Sometimes it's hard to see the silver lining before or during a hurricane that threatens to ruin your whole Disney vacation that you work so hard to plan out. But I promise you those silver linings do exist. list and I'll help you find them. If you learn about a hurricane either coming your direction or toward the Disney World bubble before your trip, then you need to turn toward Disney's cancellation policies. According to the Disney website, if a hurricane warning is issued by the National Hurricane Center for the Orlando area or for your place of residence within 7 days of your scheduled arrival date, you can reschedule or cancel your Walt Disney Travel Company Disney Resort hotel packages and most room-only reservations booked directly with Disney without any cancellation or change fees imposed by Disney. Most room-only and vacation packages can be modified or canceled online, including changes to travel dates. So, in short, Disney will refund you if you choose not to brave the storm, which you shouldn't if you feel like your family's safety will be at risk to attempt it. Now, if you're in the middle of a hurricane threat while you're at Disney, you can rest assured that Disney's well prepared for battening down the hatches. If you can get there safely, resort lobbies often offer some form of entertainment during the storm, like character meet and greets and team challenges, trivia competitions, and free arcade games. Typically, the Disney hotels will also offer some type of hurricane food box to purchase if you're not able to get out to a store ahead of time. The resort restaurants may also offer discounted prices or varied food selections during the storm, but this isn't always guaranteed. If you want to help your family be prepared before the storm hits and you're potentially stranded in your hotel room for the next day or so, make sure to have plenty of bottled water and snacks on hand, as well as other non-perishables that can fit in a tiny resort mini fridge. Grocery delivery services may be overwhelmed during this time and could cancel your order, so it's not a bad idea to grab an Uber over to the store and stock up as much as you can before the storm hits. If grocery stores are low on stock, try spots like drugstores or gas stations. Sometimes Staples or Office Max will have some food options to stock up on. It's also a great idea to have entertainment options on hand, like board games, puzzles, bicycle cards, or coloring books to keep everyone busy. And our last piece of bad news, your trip still feels so far away. You've finally entered the year when your big Disney World vacation will be kicking off, and yet waiting for that vacation can still feel like you're walking down an endless hallway, and not even one with floating candelabra in it. A little Haunted Mansion humor for you. So what's a person to do when the anticipation is getting to be too much to handle? Well, you hang out with your DFB buddies here, of course. We're always here, putting out new content daily on our website and social media, our YouTube channel, to make sure you're learning plenty of valuable vacation planning stuff in the meantime. So here's your mission if you choose to accept it. Please accept it. The fate of your trip depends on it. Before you start to see the light at the end of that seemingly endless hallway of waiting, gather up your travel group, pop some popcorn, get all cozy with a pair of Disney-themed jammies and a woolly blanket, and check out some of our DFB playlists to get the vacation planning kick-started. We got a new playlist set up for Ultimate Disney World Park Guides in 2025 that I think will be a nice place to begin, since those videos will give you a good idea of what you and your family might want to prioritize next year. Plus, Disney planning with your family is all part of the fun. Make it an event so that it's less stressful to just put on one person's shoulders. And it's more entertaining when you're just counting down the days leading up to entering into the most magical place on Earth. By the way, another thing that you can use while planning out your big Disney vacation is our free Ride Everything in Disney World guide that I mentioned earlier on. Didn't forget about that, right? So go ahead and pick up our ride guide right now to get started on your stealthy vacation strategizing over at disneyfoodblog.com/Disney Rides. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.